The 2026 Range Rover Sport carries 38.2 kilowatt-hours of battery. That is more battery than the first electric Nissan Leaf ever carried, and this is not an electric car. 51 miles before the gas engine wakes. One document in this showroom quietly argues back. Keep that in mind until the end. Land Rover calls this the driver's Range Rover. The badge reads P460e. No rival plug-in hybrid carries a bigger one, not BMW, not Porsche, not Mercedes. 454 horsepower from a straight 6 gas engine and an electric motor combined. Subscribe now, because by the end you will know whether that plug is worth paying for. The Sport has always been the one you drive yourself, sitting lower, tighter and harder edge than the full-size Range Rover above it. This generation pushed that idea further than ever and handed the sporting promise a problem it had never really faced before. Weight. Every plug-in hybrid brings some, and this one carries more of it than almost anything else in the class. The European papers on this exact car list 6,790 pounds. The American figure is lower, closer to 6,200, but either way it is enormous. So the engineering underneath had to answer for it. It does. Air suspension drops the body and the rear axle steers with the front. A 48-volt system stiffens the anti-roll bars in milliseconds, and torque vectoring trims the rest. Reviewers who have driven it keep reaching for the same word: agile. That should not be possible. None of that is something I can test standing still, so take it as reported, not witnessed. What I can judge is the shape, and this is the cleanest large SUV Land Rover has drawn. The tail is almost bare, the lights stay hidden behind dark glass until they wake, and the name stretches right across the whole tailgate. It is the rear that people argue about most, and photographs never settle it. The nose is the opposite, slim hooded lights and a grille that has almost disappeared. But there is an obvious worry here. Land Rovers have not always been dependable things. Consumer Reports still expects this one to be less reliable than the average new car on brand history alone. But this generation is the strongest the brand has built, and America gets 4 years of warranty and 8 on the battery. The concern is fair, it is also shrinking. Inside, the money announces itself immediately: perforated semi-aniline leather, metal where your hands land. Small details alone, but they accumulate fast. Then you sit down, and the one real criticism of this cabin arrives. Land Rover deleted the second display that used to sit below this one. One curved screen now runs the climate, the drive modes, the media, and the terrain settings. It looks magnificent. It also turned cabin temperature into a menu instead of a dial you never had to look at. For a car this costly, a real step backwards. The software underneath is quick and clean, which was not always something you could say about Land Rover. It also takes 50 kilowatts of direct current, which almost no other plug-in hybrid can do. Empty to 80% in around 40 minutes from any ordinary public fast charger off the highway. The BMW X5 cannot do that at all. It accepts alternating current only. So the Range Rover can be topped up almost anywhere you stop. The BMW effectively cannot. That difference decides whether a plug-in hybrid works in real life or becomes ballast. 31.8 of those 38 kilowatt-hours are actually usable, which is still generous. Which buys the silence these seats sit in. 22 ways of adjustment, heated, cooled, and massaging on this specification. Behind them sit 31.9 cubic feet of cargo with the rear seats upright. Fold that bench flat and it opens out to 53 cubic feet total. That is where the honesty has to start. A BMW X5 swallows more than that with its rear seats folded. The Sport trades outright volume for its shape. The rear seats are comfortable rather than vast, and tall adults will notice that. Which leaves one number, and it is the one everybody actually wants to hear. In America, this plug-in starts at $95,100. That buys the Dynamic SE. The car filmed here is a European example, and its options alone added another 40%. And it only earns that if you plug it in nightly, because empty it is 3 tons of luxury doing 21 miles per gallon. That document I mentioned grades it lowest. So does it actually beat the BMW? Yes, on the one thing that decides it, 50 kilowatts against none. The Range Rover is next.